Hey, what's up? It's Domestic Rockstar. On this episode, we're going to talk about my personal experiences with sexism and metal. So recently, this topic has been on the top of my mind. I read some articles, watched some videos over the last few months, and it's just been there, kind of picking at me, wanting me to make a video to talk about it. So my experience has been 17 years playing in unsigned independent bands. So over the last 17 years, I've been pretty lucky. I've only had a few incidents, like I can count them on one hand, that really bothered me. There's ongoing issues that I deal with being a female in a male-dominated scene, but for the most part, I've been pretty lucky. Do I believe sexism exists in metal? Yes, because sexism exists everywhere. It's the world, and metal is a part of the world. Music is a reflection of who we are, our environment, the world around us. Sometimes it's a reflection of fantasy worlds, even in movies directed at the metal community or that feature metal. There's still sexism in there, but I don't think my experiences are any more important or more valid than anyone else's. And as I mentioned, I've been pretty lucky in my experiences. So let's just talk about a few of the things. I think the first thing that I dealt with that was kind of troublesome was in the beginning of us forming a band. I was about 20, and it was a long time ago, back when No Doubt was super popular. They, of course, had it in the news that Gwen and Tony had been in a relationship, and most of her songs were written about him. So instantly, starting in a band, males mostly asked me if I thought I wanted to be the next No Doubt or the next Gwen Stefani, which was not the case at all. But back in 2000, 2001, there were not a lot of female-fronted metal bands that were super popular, at least not that I could remember. I know there was bands in the new metal scene that were a little bit popular, but I mean, even then, some of them are still around today, but for the most part, I didn't have a lot of influence to draw from being a female, or looking at a lot of peers, I guess, being a female in that scene. I think that over the last decade, it's gotten much better, I believe, as a whole in America and in the UK. Sexism in music has gotten a lot better. I can't speak for the other musical genres like rap and hip hop, which I know could do a better job of not exploiting females, but at the same time, as I mentioned, it is a reflection of our environment and the world around us. So another thing that I dealt with after forming the band and people realizing that I was not trying to be Gwen Stefani or No Doubt, I think that also had to do with the fact that I was in a relationship with one of my band members, my drummer, who I'm still with. But another thing that I dealt with was going to a show, my band's loading in, and the door guy, me asking him, I'm here, or telling him I'm here with the band, we're playing, whatever. And that person asking me, actually it's been females and males, not just a door guy, but a door girl too, has asked me, well, are you in the band or are you on the guest list? The first few times it was just like, oh yeah, that's funny. But after 10 years of every time there's a new door guy or a new door person that doesn't know us asking that question, it just seems like they're instantly putting their foot in their mouth without even realizing it. But I don't know if that happens so much at some of the indie shows, because the scene here in Vegas, at least, there's a lot of females in bands in the indie scene and in punk bands too, but not so much in metal bands. I think here in Vegas I can name only 3 bands that are metal. One is a doom metal band, one is more of a metalcore like Djent band, and then us. That's it, that had female singers or females in them. I'm not sure of any others. I could completely be wrong, but those are the only 3 that come off the top of my head. And in Sacramento, when we were first starting out, there was only one other band that had a female singer, and I got compared to her a lot. I actually learned a little bit from them because they were an older band that had been in the scene for a while. Whenever we got offered shows with them, or they contacted us for shows, we would talk. But I think for the most part, it was just kind of tiresome to get compared to the only other band in town that had a female singer. But that still happens now. And that's the other thing that I don't, that's one of the third things that I don't like, is when I constantly get compared to whatever other band has a female singer that is popular right now. Back in 2002, 2003, it was OTEP. Then it was Kitty. I don't sound anything like either one of them. At least I don't think I do. And to me, they're not influences. They're peers, because we've been doing this just as long, if not longer than them. They're not as popular. Well, Kitty's not really as popular anymore, but a lot of people, a lot of metal fans know who they are. And I gotta give them props. They were like 16 and 17, I believe, when they came out with their first album. And I remember hearing their first album and going, this is fucking rad. These chicks are really good. And the singer can growl and scream, and it's awesome. But I don't think I sound like that. I'm not a growler and a screamer like that. I think I'm more metalcore, and most of the influences that I've had over the years have been male. I get asked a lot, like, oh, who are your influences? Well, I get compared to, and I often, I don't mind it, but I like Zach De La Rocha. He was one of my favorites. Zach De La Rocha. He was one of my favorites. I grew up on Rage Against the Machine, and it was like a perfect mixture of nu metal, hip hop, rock, metal, punk, everything. They were amazingly talented, and I loved everything that they did. I also really like Corey Taylor. He has the most amazing range. Slipknot, when they did Iowa, I was blown away. There's still songs that on Iowa I can't get out of my head. I love that. And I've written songs and thought to myself as I'm writing this, man, this could be a Slipknot song. But we don't have as many members, and our music doesn't really sound the same, but I think I have been influenced by them. Obviously the newer bands that I talk about a lot, Norma Jean and Every Time I Die, well, not newer, but they were around back when we were starting out, and sure, they'd be peers because we've been doing this almost as long as them, but I was influenced by them. And then, of course, Dillinger, because I'm such a huge fan. I'm influenced by them, but our music isn't technical like theirs. Our music is more groovy, metalcore-ish. They're more mathy. But the vocalist, Greg, still to this day is one of my biggest influences. And then Deftones. We don't sound like Deftones, but I'm influenced by Chino. He's an amazing singer. How could you not be influenced by those bands that when I was in my early 20s, they were like in their late 20s, early 30s doing it and making it big. So the one thing, going back to the sexist part, I guess, is that just because I'm female, I get compared to a lot of other females, but I don't think that that's so much that it's sexism as there's not a lot of females out there doing what I do the same way I do it. I think that there may be in other scenes that just aren't well known. I'm not the only one doing what I'm doing. But I do think that as a female, getting compared to mainstream females that don't sound like you or aren't very similar gets kind of frustrating. One of the things that I would really like is to quit being called a female singer. I'm just a singer. It doesn't matter that I have boobs and a vagina. It matters that I'm a singer working hard with my band. The rest of my band is dudes. We get called a chick band. I don't get it. It's happened over the last couple of years. We had a guy that was going to try out for us on Guitar Player. Totally going to put him on blast right now, but I won't drop his name because he was hiding behind an email address anyway. But a couple of years ago, we were trying out Guitar Players, and this guy answered an ad, found out that it was us, and basically said, sorry, I don't want to be in a chick band. So I guess I'm guilty of sexism too, because when I hear chick band, I instantly think the whole band is female, which I guess if you're going to be classified as a chick band, that's what it should be, right? I don't know. What are your opinions? But for me, because I'm the only female in the band, I don't want my band called a chick band. I mean, I'm sure the guys don't mind. Well, I don't know if they mind. We haven't really talked about it, but in reading these articles and seeing some of these videos about people's experience, other females in scenes experiences, I've been lucky. Like I said, I've only dealt with a few things, nothing that I couldn't control or I couldn't handle. But some females deal with things that are much more extreme. There was a singer of a really dark heavy metal band that got death threats and messages and had to shut down her social media sites because of it. Now, I wouldn't have shut down my social media sites because someone sent me death threats. I got death threats the very beginning in our first band when that first band broke up. But it was from one of the ex-band members' family members, and basically just thought that they could hide behind an anonymous username and send me all these messages on our band website about how they were going to kill me, how I would never be taken seriously because I was female and all this shit. I don't even know why. Dude quit the band. Like, who cares? Get over it. And I guess because when the dude quit the band, there was a bunch of animosity against me when I had nothing to do with it. So one of the other things that I deal with being a female in a band really doesn't have anything to do with sexism. At least I don't think it does at the core of it. I think it's more of a self-esteem thing. But I feel that because I'm a singer and I'm female, that I have to be at a certain level, like image-wise. And I think at the beginning, I didn't care so much, but I hid behind baggy clothes and behind my hair when I was singing. And then I started to get more comfortable on stage and started to wear clothes that I was comfortable in. And then I moved to Vegas, and Vegas is more image-driven. And I started to wear sexier clothes, short skirts and fishnet stockings and heels. There's a couple times I almost broke my neck, but for the most part I felt okay. I didn't move around as much, but I think now I've gotten back to the wearing what I'm comfortable in on stage. I do have a different body issue that I'm dealing with now, but I think that comes with age. So yeah, as an older singer now, with years under my belt, I've gone through phases. It ebbs and flows, my body image and my self-esteem. Of course, there's all of these pushes for people to love themselves no matter what, and to accept who they are, and for people to be more accepting of your image and who you are. And while I support that 1000%, it doesn't mean I don't deal with it on a daily basis. I know I'm not skinny. I'm not tiny. I'm not 5'2". I'm 5'8". And my genetics on both sides of my family fucking suck. I mean, I've got diabetes on both sides of my family, and most of the women are big, not huge, but I mean, on my dad's side, the women tend to be larger, shorter and larger, with more of an apple shape. And then on my mom's side, most of the women are super tall and big boned. So I have these two really bad genetics that I'm fighting with constantly. And I'm not 20 anymore. I can't just not eat for 2 days and lose 20 pounds. Like, I mean, I wish I could. That would be amazing, but it's also not healthy. And I'm in my 30s, and I've been doing this for a while. And I've had health issues over the last few years. I also had a huge-ass kid 10 years ago, and while my body has changed and my body's not as young as it used to be, I've had to deal with the fact that there's certain things I can't control anymore. I want to lose weight. I want to look better. I want to feel more comfortable in my skin. I want to not deal with bags under my eyes and my skin being blotchy. I want to deal with that, but I want to accept it, but it's hard. Being up on stage, having people, fans and friends taking pictures and tagging you on social media sites or taking videos and putting them on YouTube, it gets really overwhelming sometimes. I love that. I love that the fans support us, but I'm also very self-conscious on how I look. And it stems back to when I was pregnant. I was about 6 or 7 months pregnant, and we were playing our last show before we took a few months off for a break for me to have my son. It was right when YouTube was big. It was like 2006, I want to say. So, I mean, we weren't really familiar with YouTube at that point. Not a lot of bands I knew were. I wish we were. We would have been ahead of the curve. But anyway, so we played this show. It was an amazing show. And a lot of people thought it was going to be my last show. A lot of people didn't think I was going to come back to the band. My own band members didn't think I was going to come back, and they ended up quitting while I was pregnant. But that's a whole other story. But we played the show. Someone takes an amazing video, puts it on YouTube, and like a month or so after the video had been up there, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, did you see that awesome video of your last show at the club, and it's on YouTube?" and send me the link. And I watch it, and it's awesome. And then there's these little things underneath the video called comments. And apparently the internet had decided that I was too fat and shouldn't be singing for a band, and that I needed to be put down. So luckily I had some pretty good friends, and they went on there and blasted the fuck out of those people, explaining to them that I was 7 months pregnant. And of course I was fat. I was growing a whole other human being inside of my belly while still singing for a metal band. So that was kind of cool, but I think a lot of my self-esteem issues came from that incident in particular. Especially videos. And now here I am making videos, opening myself up to the world of complaints and trolls. But I think I've gotten better at not giving a fuck. I don't care. I know I need to lose weight. I know I'm not Maria Brink. I know I'm not the Butcher Babies. I know I'm not a model trying to be a singer, or an actress trying to be a singer. I am a singer, and I just happen to be female. As a female, I want to be known as someone that's strong and independent and can hold their own. But as a singer of a band, I just want to be known as a good singer. And I hope that this gives inspiration to any young female musician out there that's starting out or dealing with issues. Your issues are valid, but you need to stand the fuck up for yourself and get yourself out there and do what you love, and don't give a shit what other people think, because nobody at the end of your life is going to count on the things you didn't do. They're gonna remember the things that you did. And in my older age, I've learned that, and I've accepted it. There's other issues that I deal with, like self-esteem and body issues, that I would love to get over, and I'm working on those. But as far as being who I am, I've accepted it. I am who I am. You trolls can eat a bag, but I'm here, I'm doing what I love, and nobody's gonna stop me from doing it. So I hope that this has been somewhat enlightening. I would love to hear your experiences in the scene, whether it's female or male, and share it. But anyway, thanks.